Okay, so we just started this new sleep training, and I know this is very, very controversial, but it worked for us. Well, last night was the third night, and it just worked. I read so much about it, and it did feel bad. Like the first night when he cries, I can't listen to it. My husband did it. He's, obviously because he doesn't have the boobs, he doesn't have any different way of doing it, and he's more firm. Like he holds him because he wiggles, and then he just really holds him by his hip and pats his head, and until he calms down a little bit, and then he leaves the room, and then he will start crying again. And then we waited for like 5 minutes. We never extended the time. Like it's always just 5 minutes at a time. But the first night it was a little bit of a struggle, and he had to go in, I think, like twice. And then this little fella, he gave up and fell asleep. And then the first night was so much better already. He only woke up twice to be fed. Because the nights before, for a long time, he started to wake up already like every hour, sometimes 20 minutes. He would, and that's not, he doesn't need to be fed that often. And obviously, because I'm too tired, I take it in my bed and I just latch him on. And then I fall back asleep. And then, he sleeps as long as he's latched on. But I always then wake up and put him back in his bed because I just can't sleep when he's in my bed as well. I've always been too worried about like rolling on him or having the blanket over his face. I mean, he's now old enough that he can wriggle out of it. I'm not so worried about something happening to him anymore, but I just don't sleep as peacefully. And it was just too much. The nights were horrible. I was just zombieing around. And that's how we came up with the idea of we have to try something. And I read about this in German. It's called the Ferber method. I think Ferber, of the person who came up with it. But there's a lot of books. And I've read so many comments of parents who said that this worked for them. And then, of course, so many comments of people who say it's just horrible. But everyone is different. Every child is different. And different things work for everyone. We have him sleeping in his own bed in the bedroom. My husband has, since he's been born, moved into the lounge room because he works. He gets up really early and he needs to sleep. And I'm feeding him full time anyway. It was first with our first son because we were both home, and he was bottle fed additional to breastfed, because with him it's a different story. He was too hungry. He didn't get enough milk, and we started introducing the bottle really early, which worked for me because I was not in the right mindset at the time to be fully breastfeeding, and it was just good for him too. He loved the bottles, and he needed one at night, and my husband could get up and give it to him, and I could sleep, and my husband was involved in feeding the boy, and it worked for everyone. And I think that is the main thing. Do what is good for you and your child and what fits to your schedule and your life. No matter what other people say on the street, what friends, relatives, the internet says, you will know. You will know when these little fellas are happy. And the second night and last night, he slept through the night. I never thought, I mean, it's just something we tried, and I thought, okay, we tried for 3 days. If the screaming doesn't get any less, we wouldn't have done it anymore. But he slept until 5 o'clock the night before last night, and like yesterday, I woke up around 3 and I couldn't sleep anymore. I was so worried because it's so, obviously, I have a different biorhythm anyway because I'm used to waking up all the time. That little man. And I went in and checked, and he was absolutely happy under his blanket and breathing fine. Oh, blanket is another thing. He hates pouches. And so what we do, we have a little blanket tucked in under the mattress so he can't pull it up. And like I said, now he's already old enough. We already moved him into a bigger bed. He had a little bed before. And we moved him into a bigger bed. It's runter. Hey. So yeah, we're doing different things a little bit differently now. And it's okay because he's already also the second one. So we know more what we're doing, and that we just have to do what works for us. Obviously, he's also completely different than our first son. But yeah, I was just gonna say that is the new thing, and I don't know how long it's gonna keep up. Obviously, everything changes all the time, but last night he worked until I woke up at 5 because I slept through the night at 5. That's when my husband's alarm went off. I moved with him into the lounge room now because this little dude, he is just very noisy even when he sleeps. And sometimes he wakes up at night and he just plays, and he doesn't cry, so he doesn't need me. That's what he does now. The last 2 nights he's been just awake a little bit, and he can put himself back to sleep now, which he wasn't doing before. So I moved. It's nice, you know, to share a bed with my husband again. And he has basically his own room. We're not putting him in the kids' room yet because my older son is in here and we don't want him to wake him up. We will when this routine is a little bit established. But yeah, at the moment, I know this is just what we're doing. I'm so glad that we moved into this house when I was pregnant with him, because before we only had 2 rooms and now we have 3 rooms. So this really works out. Yeah, it's just crazy how they go through all these different routines, right? Like when he was first born, obviously newborns, they sleep all the time and you don't really have a rhythm. You just play by ear, you know, whenever they're hungry, you feed them. When they're tired, they fall asleep. And now he's half a year old. And I already knew that, like, physically he should be able to sleep through the night, and nothing was happening. It was just getting worse. We already had, I think, around 3 months, a little rhythm which worked. We put him to bed at 8 and he would sleep at least until midnight, sometimes until 1, sometimes until 3. And that was very dependable. At these 4 hours he would sleep. So I already, like, me and my husband at that time, we had a babysitter one night and we went out that one time, and that was incredible. And then a few weeks later, that would have been unimaginable. And I know I signed up. I'm going to stay home with him for the full first year. And I signed up for that. And I don't want to stop breastfeeding or anything right now. We tried giving him bottles. I was pumping. He does not take the bottle, which is fine. I like having different experiences. And my first son had the bottle. And I'm very proud of myself to be saying that for 6 months, I've been breastfeeding full time. But yeah, I also kind of want a little bit my life back. I want to see my friends. I want to go to the gym, just one class an evening. But he has been so unpredictable recently with how he has been sleeping and waking up. Like, we put him to bed at 7 and he wakes up again at 8 or at 9 or at 10. And I just, and every parent probably knows how tortured you feel when you just don't get any sleep. Like, he waits until I'm just nodded off and then he gets up again for no apparent reason. Like, he can't be hungry, he has to be tired, his diaper is dry, we have a perfect temperature in the bedroom, everything is like, and he still wakes up, and yeah, he wants cuddles and sleep, and I love it, but not every hour of the night. And at some point, we need to take care of ourselves as well. And so, yeah, I came up with this new idea, and I thought I'm just going to share that it worked amazingly for us. I mean, now we have the thing, of course, because he goes to bed at 7. That's just his rhythm, and it works for us because our older son goes to goes to sleep at 7 as well. And that's just these 2, 3. Yeah. Usually we go to bed on at 10, so these few hours that me and my husband just have for ourselves in the evening to wind down. Usually that's the time when we get to eat, or we just watch a show, or we just talk. Last night we were sitting on the balcony and just enjoying being a couple and being friends, and so we need that. I know a lot of kids, they stay up later and then go to bed with the mom at like 10 o'clock. That's what we did when he was really young. Look at him. Hello. Charlie, hi. And yeah, and also during the day, nap times were just horrible. Like, he would either just sleep with me, and that's what we wanted to get away from, that he sees boob as a sleeping pill, because it's not just about feeding him. He just couldn't go to sleep until he was latched on, and that just doesn't work. But he does sleep in the car seat or in the pram. So, like, in the afternoon, that's like yesterday, I gave him a lunch jar, and then I put him to sleep with a little bit, like, yeah, I had to leave the room once and let him cry, and then he always crawls up in a corner, and then when he can't get any further, and then he's like snuggled up in the corner and he puts the thumb in. He doesn't take a pacifier, he has a thumb, then he gives up, and then I just went back a little bit later to cover him again, just with a shirt of mine, because the blanket is tucked in on the other end. And then he slept for 1.5 hours, which was unheard of before. During the day, he would maximum sleep like 20 minutes. Or usually just as long as he's latched on. And I'm trying to put him in his bed, and then he wakes up and cries, and all day long he would be whiny. And yesterday he had such a good sleep, so this really worked. And then in the afternoon I didn't want to do this whole thing again, so I just put him in the pram, and we went for a nice walk, fresh air, and that worked. Of course he woke up as soon as we get home, but it's fine. It's fine. He's happy when he's... during the day usually he's really happy, but yeah, he needs to have food in his tummy. And he needs to have proper sleep. So this works. This works.